right, and welcome. This is Steve Cully's Festivus of Sports on the Studio 25 Podcast Network. Thank you, Dave Warner from Creative Outpost. And with me today, my host, he is considered by most the GOAT at UConn. His name is Shane Stafford, legendary quarterback, legendary arena football quarterback, played in NFL Europe, and now he is taking the plight of coming on the air with me again. So we're very lucky to have him. Welcome, Shane.
I appreciate you having me, man. It's always fun talking to you and former UConn alum, that's for sure.
No, I know. We don't do more of it. We're trying to. We talked to Coach Baylock the other day. We talked to him, trying to see how we could increase our alumni engagement.
Yeah.
And because it's really, I feel bad. It's just the poor guy. It's the 86-year-old dude that's in charge of running the whole thing. I mean,
you talk about a GOAT. He's a GOAT.
Yeah, he sends out a newsletter, and he has no assistants, nothing. It's just all on him, which I don't think is right, but that's how they're doing it. So we're going to try to get something going to at least put a network together so UConn works with UConn, which we haven't done in the past.
And Steve, what you're doing is awesome too, brother.
Yeah. I've been getting some great guests. I've been getting some great guests from your class, so that makes a huge difference. It's no fun if you get a bad guest, and I've had those before. So the better the guest, the better the show. But this is the Studio 25 Podcast Network, and the Festivus of Sports is, of course, a play on one of my favorite shows, which was Seinfeld, which was Festivus.
Love it.
It's always Festivus when you have me and you get to talk about sports. And it was quite the weekend. In sports. For some of the New York teams, it was very good, a marketable improvement from the week before. For the New York Football Giants, I don't know. The bottom just continues to fall out, and I don't know what to even say anymore. I'm just
trying to figure out what's going on up there with them.
Yeah, my friend told me to watch the Hard Knocks that they did in the off season leading up to the draft on HBO. I haven't watched Hard Knocks in years.
Sure.
And I went back and I watched the Hard Knocks, and it was all about the off season and how they evaluate player personnel.
Yeah.
And they seem to have like 30 of the dumbest people in one room at the same time. And it's so frustrating to see because everyone wants youth. They all want the young guys, and they all think the young guys have the answers.
Right.
And it's completely batshit crazy and wrong to do it that way.
And you know, Steve, as well as I do, I mean, you need experience, hands down, but you need winners too.
Yes.
You can't have some losing experience. That's not a good thing.
Exactly. And you know, they have a young GM, and I liked Dayball when they initially brought him in. I thought he was a good hire, but his mentality, he's a lunatic. Like you watch him on the sidelines and everything. He's exactly what they tell coaches not to do. Like, coaches, keep your composure. They act like it's a poker game. Whatever happened was supposed to happen. I mean, that's how I was always taught. And he just slams his headset down. He screams at people, motherfucks people. You can't say that, but screams at people, yells at people. He does all that. And it's just disappointing to see. And then the development of Daniel Jones.
Yeah.
I don't get that. They let Saquon Barkley go. And, you know, he's been performing very well with the Eagles.
He has.
And I understand nobody wants to pay running backs, and an injury. He's had a lot of injuries, and he's a lot of wear and tear. But he rushed for 934 yards last year. He had 6 touchdowns. He was really all they had on offense.
Yeah, on a team where you pretty much knew that they weren't creative on how they got him the ball.
Never,
in my opinion. And so you knew when he was lining up in the backfield, hey, you knew where it was going. Inside zone, outside zone, maybe some counter trade type of thing. But you could just follow him and he'll take you to the ball when he's in the backfield.
And that's what's even more amazing about the yardage he had, because the quarterback situation, he had no help, and they're playing Tommy DeVito, and I definitely think we could put you out there, and you would play better than Tommy DeVito in most situations, and he's their starter, and they go into the off season and on this Hard Knocks.
Yeah.
And it's about upgrading the roster. It's about upgrading the team. And by the end of it, you just go into it looking at everything and thinking, I think they just got worse.
Yeah. I would agree.
The draft and what they did with free agency, and it's like,
sure,
they got worse. Like I get they signed Devin Singletary, the running back from Buffalo, because Dayball had a relationship with him, but they got him at a discount. It's not like the Eagles overpaid Barkley. Like they gave him basically a little bit more than the Giants gave him last year on the franchise tag.
Sure.
It was like 12.5 million for 3 years. And the Giants wouldn't even do that. But the thing that bothered me the most was the nonchalance that the front office had whenever they met and they were talking about free agency and losing him and everything. There was no sense of urgency. There was no sense of, we got to get this guy back. He's a loyal member of our franchise. He wants to be a Giant for life.
And he's a Jersey guy. So he's right across the river.
Yeah, it meant a lot to him. Yeah. It meant a lot to the guy. And it showed in the way he played. It completely showed in the way he played. Mm-hmm. So that was really frustrating to see.
I agree.
And then I don't know what you do with Daniel Jones at this point. I know they don't have Neighbors is great. The first round pick, they drafted that Malik Neighbors out of LSU. Mm-hmm. And he's done some things. I mean, he had 10 catches, although he had the pivotal 4th down drop. But he is someone who's going to be special. He's someone who's going to be a difference maker. I have no doubt about that. But the other guys around him aren't great. They might as well put tissue paper in front of them up front. I mean, I don't think they're lying.
You think that's just as good as what they're doing?
You might as well. Yeah, just run through them. I mean, he doesn't have a chance a lot of the times.
Maybe they trip over the tissue paper.
Yeah, they could. They could for sure. But it drives me nuts. It drives me nuts watching it. Yeah. And I don't know how you can go an entire off season and not get better and not address those issues. And to go 0-2 when you have the 6th highest salary cap in the NFL, it's just disheartening.
What are they doing, man? Like, what? I don't get it right now. Going on.
I don't either, and I don't know what. There's no easy answer. I don't know what they can do at this point. I don't think that Dayball and Shane are going to be long for this world. I wouldn't keep them with the decisions they've been making. I think they've shown that they can't run a franchise. And it's just sad. It's sad to see. Meanwhile, you look at the Jets, and the Jets. I always say that their head coach, Robert Salah or whatever, he should have won Coach of the Year last year for winning 7 games with that team.
Yeah.
I mean, that they had absolutely nothing. I mean, they were
very true.
They were rolling out. They rolled out Trevor Siemian at quarterback.
But can I say something though, real quick?
Yeah.
Coach of the Year, 7. Come on, 7. That's where
No, I know.
now. Now we're giving participation trophies out to coaches.
Yeah, I know. That's what I knew how bad
no
they were.
Disrespect to the guy. I love the guy. I love his passion.
And they get 7 wins out of that team. I don't know how he did it.
Yeah,
with smoke and mirrors, with no quarterback. They
just shows you how good that defense is, though.
Yeah,
that
that's
defense
what kept them
is
alive.
Freaking amazing. I don't want to go against them. That's the old Rex Ryan type defense, and hopefully now with the quarterback, hopefully they'll be really good. But
yeah,
I didn't mean to cut you off, my man.
No, I agree. I agree with you 100%. I think that will make a big difference. And like if they won 7 games without Aaron Rodgers, I think the over under with him, he's got to add at least 4 games to your win total. Yeah. You would think. So 10, 11 games, 12 games, that I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility.
Right.
No,
Big Steve love you for that, man. Courtney Williams is going to love you saying that.
Yeah. I know. But they got 2 good running backs. They run the ball pretty well. They do play action passing pretty well. And Rodgers, he didn't throw for any crazy numbers. He threw for 176 yards. Yeah. But you can still see when he has to make a throw, you can see him in the pocket too. Like he's not as mobile as he used to be. But
he's not comfortable yet. He's not.
Yeah, he can create a little bit more time than usual. Yeah. But otherwise, he's immobile. And
he's not himself just yet.
No. And I wouldn't expect him to be. I know that they were making a big deal about him practicing last year, and they didn't put him on IR, and they were hoping that he may make it back by the end of the year. But it's just impossible with an Achilles injury like that. But
no doubt,
for what they paid for him, if they get 2 years out of him, if they get a playoff run out of him, if they get a division title run out of him, then I think it's worth it.
Well worth it, no doubt, doubt. Just to get that excitement back again,
Yeah, in the Meadowlands, absolutely.
You who I love as far as with the Jets is the running back.
Breece Hall.
Goodness, Breece Hall. That kid, man, he is a stick of dynamite just waiting to explode. Like he is phenomenal. I love watching him play. And then that they have the wide receiver number 5. I think he is. I'm sorry, I'm not as up to date with all my Jets people. Garrett Wilson, I think. Yeah. Man, those 2 guys, I think, are really gonna light this up, man. If I was a fantasy guy right now, I would take those 2 guys because I think that's where he's comfortable throwing to those guys or checking to a run game, or they find ways to get Aaron Rodgers with those guys. Man, it's pretty cool to watch that. And once he gets comfortable, I think Hall and Garrett, I think both of them are gonna be phenomenal.
Yeah,
phenomenal.
They'll be big contributors on offense. No, I agree with you. And then he got his guy. I think that Alan Lazard was the other guy that he wanted from Green Bay.
Yes, from Green Bay. You're right. Yes,
he's done some things. But I mean, just for the Jets fan base, I mean, 4 games into the season or 4 plays into the season, and that's when Rodgers got hurt last year.
Yeah.
And everything just went down the drain. All the hope and everything, all the dreams were just dashed.
Right.
And it was crazy how it happened. And then the Zach Wilson saga. I never liked him from the start, just watching him. He just kind of seemed like he pouted a lot. He didn't seem like a leader. He didn't seem like someone that would come in the huddle and take charge and tell guys like, what they needed to do and tell guys when they were screwing up. Like he's not a guy to do that. That's not his style.
Nope.
And he just seemed to have a popcorn arm. He couldn't make any of the throws. They were so limited with what they could do with him. And
small dude.
Yeah, well, my one of my other shows, my co-host completely blames the Jets front office for not addressing the situation and making a move last year for somebody, because he liked that Joe Flacco went to the Browns and led him to the playoffs. He thought that was super, and that's what he thought. The Jets could have done something like that, added a piece. Even the Vikings, they signed that Joshua Dobbs off the Cardinals practice squad, and he played well. Like they could have done something to upgrade the position than for what they had in that room, and they were right on the cusp, and an upgrade, 1 or 2 more wins, then they're in the playoffs, and that would have been huge.
Yeah.
Making the playoffs without Aaron Rodgers, that would have been even better.
Yes.
But it was good to see they won. It was good to see the defense play better. I think that division overall is going to be kind of a dumpster fire. Buffalo looked good. I like the new offensive coordinator. They were struggling so bad last year. They fired Ken Dorsey, who actually played against at the U. And
that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, and they promoted Joe Brady from within. So Joe Brady has a great pedigree. I think he was at LSU. I think most recently he was on the LSU 2019 national championship team, I think. And then he went to Carolina. He didn't do well there. And then Buffalo picked him up. I don't know if he was an analyst or a quarterback coach or whatever. And then they made that move, and then they completely shifted the offense. And it wasn't Josh Allen running around for an hour and a half trying to make throws. They invested in the running game, which was something that they never really did.
Right.
And you've seen is it quarterback, when you have a good running game, it takes so much pressure off of you.
Oh, 100%.
I mean, it makes life a lot easier. It slows down the pass rush. It makes them think twice about everything.
It's huge. It's absolutely huge. Hey, and I just want to real quick. I have to make this comment, and I was going through some things earlier today when you were talking about what everything, and the thing about the Jets and going back to them, and as far as their different with Aaron Rodgers being there, dude, they are so young.
Yeah, they are.
I think there's only like 4 guys
under the age of
30.
Yeah.
One being Aaron Rodgers, and 2 of them being kicker, punter, and then the other 2 maybe being offensive lineman. I wanted to make sure I pointed that out. Like, there is so much excitement about the Jets if you're a Jets fan. Now, it's about pulling it together and seeing what Aaron Rodgers can do. But it blew my mind when I saw that, and I wish I would have brought it up earlier. I didn't mean to cut you off there, but
No,
I had to,
that's the point
you
of the
know.
show. You're supposed to cut me off. You cut me off. Cut me off whenever you want. You're right. The 2 touchdowns he threw, one of them was to a running back, and he was allegedly the youngest player ever to score a touchdown in an NFL game. He was 20 years old.
Are you serious? I did
Yeah.
not know that. Wow.
I didn't know that either. They mentioned that in the stat books that
How is he even allowed to be in the NFL at 20
I
years
was
old? I
wondering that
thought you
to
had to be 2
myself.
years removed.
I was wondering that myself. He must have played as a true freshman, and he must have played as a sophomore,
What?
and tore it up. And I didn't look at the name.
That's crazy.
To see if he got drafted or where exactly he came from, but I will definitely check it. I'll definitely check it out.
Yeah, we'll have to look that one up, man. We're gonna have to research that one. I definitely want to find that one out.
Yeah, Braylon
Allen. Yeah, rookie, 20 years old from Wisconsin. 6'1", 235. Wow. That's a big boy, bro. 6'1", 235.
Well, that's Wisconsin. That
is true.
They still like the big backs, and they still run the ball.
You would have done well in Wisconsin.
Yeah, yeah, I probably would have. Yeah,
downhill.
It just wouldn't have gone very far. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, man.
He really must have torn it up to have played as a true freshman, and then to get drafted. Wow. I gotta definitely look at his stats, because that is very unusual.
Absolutely.
He's a rookie. I'm just curious to see where they picked him up.
Maybe he might. No, he couldn't have gone to junior college. I mean, because I coached at the junior college level, and he'd be like 27 if he went to junior college.
Yeah, he would. Yeah, he would. Yeah,
as a rookie.
Absolutely, yes. So that's very young. And this was the year, I think I talked about it with you, where the least amount of underclassmen declared for the NFL draft.
Wow.
Because of the money, because of the NIL money.
Oh,
so they had the least amount of underclassmen declare for the draft.
Yeah.
So apparently Wisconsin wasn't paying him enough to get the money on board.
Right.
They got him in. But yeah, you're right. The Jets have one of the youngest rosters. The other young roster is Houston and Green Bay both have very young rosters.
Okay.
And there's a lot of excitement about both those teams.
Sure.
I was not on the CJ Stroud train. I've never liked Ohio State quarterbacks altogether. I don't think I've seen a good one ever. But
in the NFL.
Yeah, in the NFL. There hasn't been anyone.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm with you 100%, man.
I'm willing to give it to him that he may be the guy. He just makes plays. He's got composure. He doesn't look at the pass rush, and he doesn't try to win it all by himself. He takes what's given to him, and I think so much of it is also coaching, because every offensive coordinator, and every offensive coordinator that I worked for, they have to get five receivers out. They want 5 out. At some point, they're going to keep the back end and check release them, or chip with the tight end and release them. They want to get 5 guys out, and it's nice in concept, but if your line can't protect, you're just going to keep getting your quarterback killed. Yeah. And I think that Houston has done some nice things in Green Bay too, where they're keeping 6 and even 7 guys in and running really good play action. And they're just running 3-man route combinations with play action off of it. And I like the moving of the pocket. I like the nakeds.
I love the moving of the pocket.
Yeah.
Love that.
I just think you have to. I think if you put your quarterback, in the shotgun and throw the ball, I think it was the first game Daniel Jones attempted 42 passes. They're never going to win with Daniel Jones throwing the ball 42 times.
Not
and if you're
from
putting
the
him in the
spot.
gun, yeah, you're putting him in the shotgun and expecting him to do that.
Yeah, what I'm gonna tell you real quick though, just being a quarterback and as an offense coordinator for some years, is when you give, and what I always did as a player, Steve, is I always asked my opponents, in other words, my defensive line, my defense coordinator on my own team, what is easiest for you to rush the passer, right? So
Really?
they're like, yeah. Oh, I always used to sit in defensive meetings. I would always sit and hear what the D coordinator would say, what the D line, because those are the people that always hit me. You know what I'm saying?
You're right. They know, right?
What makes it easy for you? And they would always say, well, if we know where he's going to be, then we know how to get home. But if you have a mobile home and we don't know his address, well, guess what? We don't know where to go. So
that's a great analogy.
Yeah, that's a huge thing, man, and that's why nowadays it's great to have, especially with all these different tools that these offenses have, to where they can move the pocket, they can use formations, they can use different personnel and break the huddle real fast and play fast. And now you may not have the right personnel in on defense and all those different deals. Man, it's awesome from that standpoint. That's why some of these smaller quarterbacks are able to get away with it, because they're not getting hit as hard and as often. So, I mean, just looking at CJ, he's about 220 or so. That's not a small kid, or a small young man. It's not like he's 190 like the kid from Washington. That's the guy that scares me. I don't think he's going to last long unless he puts about another 20 pounds on his behind. But yeah, man, I just wanted to point that one out there, because it's awesome how the offenses are now starting to understand that, because these defensive linemen, they are so athletic and they are quick to get home.
And you're right, because I even would have offensive linemen who would ask me where the launch point was going to be.
Right.
And I was thinking, like, we're launching a rocket ship? What do you mean? What launch point? They wanted to know where the quarterback was going to be in the pocket, where he's going to be launching from. And I never even thought of that. That's like fifth dimensional thinking to me, is like thinking, okay, where's the launch point for the quarterback going to be on this pass play? And I had guys asking about that as well. But the other, obviously I mentioned Buffalo. They had the big win against Miami, but Tua, he gets his money, he gets his contract, he gets the big deal and all that. And the other show that I do, and I do it with Dave and I do it with somebody else, and they all
Dave Schumann.
Yes, and they all agreed that Tua should have been paid, and I was the only one. I said I would not pay him. I'm not paying him. He's got 2 years left, I think, or he had a year left and then an option year. So you could have kept him at a relatively low price and then made a decision off of that. And he had 3 really bad concussions in 2022. And I think he had 4 overall. So he has this one at Buffalo. And it's like, My opinion is the league should be involved somehow and step in and either have them independent. I know they get independently evaluated, and I know they go into concussion protocol, but I think the league should step in and really have him just a battery of tests and make a decision on whether you're going to let this guy continue to play football.
Well, what I'm going to tell you this, Steve, if you don't think the league has already stepped in, you're out of your
No, they have.
roster, bro.
You're right. No, you're 100%.
They don't want a $1 billion lawsuit against them.
You're right.
Like they already had. I'm actually still because I've had well over 20 concussions. A few of them at Connecticut. You know, not trying to throw shade on any school or anything. I've had one or two in high school. I've had one really bad one at UConn where I thought it was against UMass. I thought the game was over, and I got up to leave the film session. They're like, "Where are you going?" I was like, "Film's over. Like that was the last play." They're like, "No, there's like 2 more drives."
Oh,
like,
this was after the game.
Oh yeah, this is that.
Wow.
Yeah. So, but anyway, and then I had multiple ones in arena football, and then I had 1 or 2 in NFL Europe, and some things like that. You know, I never got one technically in the NFL other than NFL Europe, which I guess is an entity or was of the NFL. I don't want to get myself or anybody in trouble with this, but no, screw that. I'm speaking honestly here.
You're on an upstate New York. You're not going to get anyone in trouble.
But no, I've been talking to people, and you know, here's the deal with that is that whole NFL and the concussion deal. Trust me, they are without a doubt 100%. If anybody's going to be cautionary, they're going to be cautionary. They're not going to let him go back in there until he's cleared by like 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 doctors.
Yeah.
And not even his doctors, but the NFL's doctors. And it's going to be up to Tua, man. It's going to be up to him. And one thing I do know is when I started getting my concussions, Steve, this was in 2002, I think. 2002. I got my first one to where I remember not being able to see out of my one eye for a little bit, my left eye, to where it was so blurry.
Wow.
And it was up in Michigan. We played the Detroit, whatever that arena team was.
Yeah.
And I went over to the sideline, and I was coherent, but I couldn't see out of my left eye. So the trainer's like, "Hey, do you want me to take you out?" I said, "No."
Not like blurry, like it was completely darkness, like you couldn't see it all?
No, it wasn't even blurry, nor was it darkness. It was just straight. It was like a dream in my left eye. Like I couldn't.
Oh my God.
All fuzzy, and
yeah,
it was nuts, bro. It was nuts.
Yeah.
I was nervous.
I would have been scared.
About 30, 40 minutes go by, and I could see fine again.
It came back.
The next year it happened, and you know how they say about concussions: you get one, they come that much quicker and that much more consistent. So then, by the time I finished playing arena football, in 2010, it went from getting one a year, like in 2002. Then 2003, I played in NFL Europe, got one there. Then 2004, I got 2. Then 2005, I got a few. Then 2006, I got a few more, and then a few more. But here's what's crazy, Steve. I was able to understand when that blurriness and darkness would go away, like that fuzziness would go away. So it'd be like 30 minutes and it would go away. So if it happened in the first quarter, I knew about before halftime, I'd be okay again.
And you'd be good.
Yeah, but I was still coherent. But at the time, I didn't know it was a concussion. So here's what I'm going to here's what
we
I'm gonna
thought
say
you're
about.
getting your bell rung. Yeah,
Yeah, that's what they say. Oh, you just got your bell rung. You're okay. Here's what I'm gonna say about this whole thing with Tua. I think he's had multiple prior to what has been reported. That's the
of
whole
course.
reason for this story,
Yeah.
of me boring you a little bit.
No, not at all. I've been through the same
But
thing.
I just truly think he's had a bunch that hasn't knocked him out the way he's been knocked out now. And you know how those grown men at that level, you know how it is.
Yeah.
They're not trying to tackle you. They're
No,
trying to hurt
no,
you.
they're trying to get you out of the game.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
the whiplash and the head hitting
Oh, and
the
not all
ground.
concussions make you unconscious.
Yeah, that you're
Not all
exactly right.
concussions, you don't lose consciousness. No,
Correct. And that's
I did.
kind of the point.
I did an episode with Laban and
Oh, that's yes.
with
There's a
Chris
great example.
from the Concussion Legacy Institute. He I have no idea. Well, Laban's a lunatic, but Laban's friends with everyone. Laban donated his brain to the Concussion Legacy Foundation. So Laban was able to get Chris to come on the podcast. And this is the guy that like spoke in front of Congress, and he like pioneered CTE, the diagnosis of it and the treatment for it. And I mean, he started it all because he played football at Harvard and then he wrestled for the WWE, and he had to stop because he had concussion problems.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and I talked with him, and they have and I'm working with them now. They have a program where you can go and get evaluated for free. They will set it up for you. It's not, you don't have to go there on site anymore for a battery of testing or whatever. They have neurologists that they work with all over the country. They'll set you up with them, set you up with a free assessment, free appointment, and it's all like all the treatment is free. So
Wow.
I had him on the show and I talked with him and I told him some of the symptoms that I've been experiencing. I had my girlfriend on, and she said that over the last year I've noticed significant changes, significant mood changes, depression, anxiety, anger,
Yeah.
stress, all
Yeah.
that comes with it. And those are telltale signs of CTE. And now they can't technically diagnose it in someone
Right.
who's living, but they can tell you what stage you're likely at. And they do have treatment plans now to at least stop it and slow the onset of it. So I know Laban at stage 2. He's donated his brain. He
When
he
you
was
say
having,
donate your brain, what did they do? Chop his head off and then put it back on his shoulders? I mean,
no, when you die, you donate your brain to the Legacy
okay.
Foundation. Like, remember
I
when
mean,
Junior?
I know it's a serious topic, but
Yeah,
I'm trying to,
yeah,
have a little bit of fun with
yeah,
it.
yeah. It's crazy. You're talking about it because legitimately, the majority of their brains probably aren't going to be arriving for 70 years or whatever.
Right.
But like Junior Seau specifically shot himself
Yes.
in the chest
Yes.
so he could be evaluated. Dave Dorson did the same thing. Aaron Hernandez was the
Yes.
youngest player
He
to ever
was.
be diagnosed with it.
Yeah.
He was diagnosed with it. He was the youngest player ever. And I think he was 27 or 26. I can't remember.
27. Yeah, I think it was 26, 27. You're exactly right, man.
And I, you don't notice it when you're not objective when you're going through something like that. You think you're fine. You think you're normal.
Well, you're
It's the people
Superman.
around you that see it.
Yeah.
And
You're going to
yeah,
get through it. You're fine.
yeah. I 100%. Like I didn't notice a personality change. I didn't notice anything. I noticed memory loss, like short-term memory loss. like my girlfriend would ask me about something or mention something that we did. I was like, I don't remember doing that.
That's interesting. That is so interesting, man. We need to have something off air, you know.
Well, no, I've had probably 20 as well. I've had 20. I haven't had many actually documented. I probably had 5 documented.
Yep.
But undocumented, like, when I was talking with Chris on the show, Chris was probably like, you're an offensive lineman. You guys are colliding every play.
Yep.
It's like you minimum, you've probably had 20 to 25 concussions, and they've gone on diagnosed. And so you're consistently suffering second impact syndrome.
Yep.
So that was that. I mean, that was shocking to hear because I was just old school. I always thought you get a concussion, you're knocked out. You wake up and you're
right.
I didn't think it was anything more than that.
Yeah.
But everything that he was saying, telltale signs of having a version of CTE. It's just a matter of what level it's at. So he set me up with a neurologist in Norwich, Connecticut.
Oh wow, okay.
He gave me 4 options. I'm in upstate New York. None of them were local, which is not surprising. I wouldn't take my dog to see a doctor around here, but none of them were around here. It was either New York City or Connecticut, but like I don't know why he took a liking to me, and he personally talked to this guy and recommended him for me in Norwich. It's Dr. Anthony Alessi. So I'm making an appointment to go see him.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, I mean,
not that you're going to make an appointment, but the fact that you are making an appointment.
You don't realize it until sometimes it's too late, and people won't want to be around you, and you lose friends because of it, because of your attitude, and
you lose the marriage.
Absolutely. 100%.
Jobs. You
100%.
You do stupid things.
Your disability. Absolutely. Like if I told you one of my best friends, I don't know, I'm sure you met him, but it was Greg Smoot. He was a defensive lineman at UConn.
I know the name. Yes.
Greg Smoot came in with me. He started as a freshman. He was a dynamo. He was one of the best. He was unbelievable. He was an inside defensive tackle.
What was his best move?
He was just bull rush you, man. He
was
good at knocking your hands. Yeah, he was so good with his hands.
Yeah,
but he was just a high effort guy, high motor. He kind of went off the rails, like really went off the rails.
Yeah.
And for like 15 years, I didn't hear from him. I didn't even know where he was.
Right.
And I would, Uwe and Terry and those guys. I'd go see Uwe and Terry. We'd be hanging out at their house.
Sure.
And every time I'd go hang out with them, I'd say, "Let's see if we can find Smoot." Because Terry's pretty good on the internet. Terry can find anything. I said, Terry, we can find him.
Dang.
And he would be the one to do it.
Yeah.
So Terry couldn't find him, but he found his brother. So I messaged his brother, and his brother gave me his number. And he had, at the time, he was driving a produce truck in Louisiana. And from there, just he got really messed up. Like he doesn't talk to a lot of people. I try to talk to him now once a week or not even once a week, probably once a day. I try to talk to him because he's on total disability. He was built. He was a monster. I mean, he was 280 pounds. He was strong. He was tough. He got up to probably 380 pounds, he said. he said that like
Huh.
he was just so depressed, like you wouldn't get out of bed.
Yep.
And
That's depression, bro.
yeah, no, I know it is. I've
No,
had it. I haven't had it to that extent
no,
of
you're good.
sleeping
Hey,
all day.
look, let's do this. Let's talk about Tua, man.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's-
No, I agree. I
no,
agree.
but in all seriousness, man, we need to have another show possibly if you're down, about this kind of,
Yeah, no,
because
I am. Well, we
mental
will for
health
sure.
with men
When
is
I get
such a
evaluated, I
topic.
said I would do it.
Yeah, mental health is such a topic that um, I think it needs to be addressed, and I think if we lead that way, down the road, I know this show kind of took that turn, but hey, this is what it's about. It's raw emotion, whatnot, right?
No,
So,
it's true. It's 100% true, and
yeah,
it does get overlooked, and there's a stigma behind it, and not enough people get evaluated for it.
yeah,
I know that I fought tooth and nail going to therapy, and I didn't like
yes.
going to therapy and all that.
And
Um,
yeah, and real quick though, Steve, here's the crazy part. They when you have this issue, you do get depressed, you do get lazy, you don't take that next step, you don't find things important.
you isolate.
So
Yep,
you isolate, and then so people are like, "Oh, well, you don't care about yourself." You're right, I don't,
I
because
don't. Yeah,
I don't.
yeah.
Like that's part of the like
That's
that's
part of the
part of the
yeah.
process of being screwed up in the
Screwed
head,
up. Yeah,
and it's when you need people the most is when they're not around. You know what I
yeah.
mean? It's
That's
screwed up, man.
100%.
But trust
That's
me, I am sure this podcast will bring up a lot of
no.
if
You're right.
people listen to it, they'll understand what's going on.
You're right. You're
Yeah.
right. I mean, that was the one thing that my girlfriend stressed. She didn't think that my friends were around enough when I was
Hmm.
at my worst, and I was like, they got wives, they got kids, they got families. Like they're not gonna leave their family on a 7 o'clock at night to come sit with me and see if I'm okay. I mean, they got shit to do. Like
Yeah.
I don't put it on my friends and say it's their responsibility to be
Yeah.
there day in and day out. Um,
Everything sounds exactly familiar. I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
it's
I mean,
it's too
they
familiar.
anything they do, they include me. I'm never left out of anything.
Yeah.
But she kind of felt like they
Right.
should have done more than what they were
Yeah.
doing. And like even the guys in Connecticut, I'm like Terry and Uwe live in Connecticut. Like they got
Yeah.
kids. Like you
Yeah.
can't. They're gonna drive 4 hours for a weekend and just babysit me. Like I don't know what.
Nah, it's not babysitting, brother. It's hanging out
Yeah,
with your
yeah.
boy. You know.
No, that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing. And that's where we're trying to do that at
Yeah.
UConn. We're gonna try to we're gonna try to plan something. I think for um. Well, you were a captain, right?
Yes.
Okay, so you're being honored. I don't know if you know that or not.
Yeah. I forget what week it is, but
Yeah,
what's his name told me about it.
I'm gonna come out to that. Yeah,
Speaking of not having memory, but we talked about him earlier in the
Baylock
show.
told me that you
Yeah,
guys are being
yeah,
honored.
Balon. Thank you.
So yeah, I was gonna come out for that one. I
Yeah.
think next weekend. It's the Buffalo game. I think.
Oh, it's next weekend.
Not this coming weekend.
Oh,
The week
okay.
from this weekend.
Okay. I gotta see if I
I'm
can get
pretty
off
sure it's
work.
Buffalo.
Shh.
I'm
I'm
Yeah,
gonna
I'm
try and
pretty
get
sure
off
it's
work.
Buffalo. It's either Buffalo. Maybe I got it wrong. I'm pretty sure he said it was a Buffalo game because there were three teams that were getting honored, and he was honoring the
Yeah.
captains that are alive. I think there were 60 of them, and then they were honoring the Motor City Bowl team from 2004.
Yeah,
But
rightfully
I know
so. That
that,
was a big win.
yeah, it's huge. Yeah. But I still, it still rubs me the wrong way they didn't honor the 98 team. I don't know how, who made that decision or how that flew over people's heads. How do you
Yeah,
not, honor the greatest team in
the
UConn
first
history
10-win football team in
ever?
100
Playoff
years.
win. It bothered me, and I said something to Phil Hunt about it,
Yeah,
because I told Phil, I said, that's just you're on that team. I know that you're second in command and you're going to
yeah,
be president one day and all that, but those are your guys. Like
right.
that was a magical moment that never was replicated. Like how do you not honor the 25th anniversary of that team?
Yeah.
And this year they're honoring the 25th anniversary of the volleyball team winning the first Big East championship.
Hey,
I'm like, that's
look.
getting honored.
Here's
And
here's what it's about, Steve. We know what we did. We did what we
I know
did.
you
And
do.
you know what I mean? Like it's without that team, there wouldn't have been a 2000, for Motor City Ball,
Yeah.
champion. Um,
There wouldn't have been
so
the Fiesta Bowl or any of that
yeah,
success.
we all understand that. But you don't do it for the limelight. You do it because you love your brothers. You do it because you're passionate about the sport. You do it because this is what you wanted to do. And that at the end of the day, that's why you do it, man. It's great to be honored. It's great, but that's not why you do all that stuff,
Nah,
man.
you're right.
It's
I
you know what
know.
I'm saying?
It doesn't mean
It's
you're just going up with a
I
coin toss
trust
and
me,
all
I
that. But
I love what you're saying. I do,
yeah.
but man, this whole podcast took a little bit of a
That's why
turn.
you asked me for a format and a script. I said I
Yeah.
don't do formats and scripts. It goes where it goes.
I love it, bro.
I don't want
I
to make you
love
nervous, but I'll give you a little bit.
Yeah, no doubt.
'Cause I see shows that are too scripted, it just sounds unnatural, and that's what
Yeah.
I get frustrated with.
Dude, I
Um,
can't wait till we get more in depth and get deeper into this because we're gonna flow like a summer
yeah,
gun.
I agree. I
Yeah.
agree. And then the last news was Syracuse.
Oh
I know
yes.
you're from Pennsylvania, so you're not a
Yeah.
diehard Syracuse guy like we are up here. Um,
Syracuse is where I wanted to go to school, but to
I
play
know you did. I know
basketball.
you wanted to play basketball
That was
there.
my
I
dream
know.
school, man.
Um,
Yeah.
they finally seem to have turned somewhat of a corner.
Yeah.
The Georgia Tech win over Florida State doesn't look as good as it did the first week, but for them, they're 2-0. They've started out 4-0 the last 3 years, I believe, and then they always stumble when it comes to the ACC schedule.
Yeah.
But Clemson's not Clemson. Florida State's not Florida State. They
But they're still
legitimately,
they're still good schools now.
they are, but I think Syracuse will compete with them. I
Yes.
think Syracuse 8 wins, 9 wins. I don't think that's out of the question.
Not
And
at all.
I'm the one who it was 2 years ago. They started off 5-0,
Yeah.
and I predicted they would finish 6-6, and they finished 6-6. As soon as they got to the ACC schedule, they finished 6-6.
Yeah.
And that's
Yes.
why, BC is okay. Bill O'Brien took over. They're doing a good job there.
Right.
So it's going to be interesting to see. They got a real good young head coach who's a recruiter. He got some of the top players out of Jersey, which I think made a difference.
That's
They
huge.
finally got the NIL money that they hadn't been doing, and
Oh,
it was amazing.
they've got a lot of money
They
potentially.
do. They do.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. 100%.
Yep.
It costs 70 something $1,000 a year to go there. I didn't like, I had no idea they were behind so far with the NIL stuff as they were. Like I knew we were behind. I knew we couldn't give someone a cup of coffee.
Right.
but I didn't know Syracuse was behind. But that's why I give Burton so much credit for
Serious.
Bleeding Blue for what he's done.
Dude, that guy is amazing.
I said that. I said that there isn't a more giving person. He always gives back. He's had success on and off the field. I can't imagine what he's had to go through taking over and running his father's business with his brother, and that company is a juggernaut. And UConn always comes back to him, and he always says yes.
And he answers the call
He,
without a
he
doubt.
always says yes. Hey, Mike, we need this. Yes,
He
no problem.
truly bleeds blue, right?
That's what I said. I said it in
Yep.
my post. I said if there's the definition of bleeding blue, it's Mike Burton.
Yeah.
And I only played with him 1 year, and he took remarkable care of me. Mike, Jamie Harper, Durfus, and Sasson.
Oh,
Really
jeez. Look at that crew.
Yeah. Look at that crew. Look at that
Hey,
crew.
if I would
Right.
have been there, I would have been a part of it too. I
Oh,
love
I
hanging
know.
out
I
with that
know.
whole line.
I told everyone you were the reason I went to UConn.
Yeah.
The two games I was recruited to were the UMass games.
Yeah. I remember you saying that. Yeah.
And I went to UMass being recruited by UMass,
Yeah.
and the UConn coaches spent more time with me.
Yeah.
And just watching, I can't. There was one of them I think Hoffman played, but there was the one that you played. I can't remember.
He played. Yep, he played at the one at home. Yep, and I played at the
Okay.
one at their place. Mm-hmm.
Was the one at their place the one that went into overtime?
I know we won that one by like the skin of our teeth. I'm not
Yeah.
sure which one won because we played them twice. I think I don't honestly.
I'll check. I thought one of them went into overtime. It was a great game.
There might have been the one that Hoffman played where we
Yeah.
beat them with a high scoring game.
Yeah.
It's so crazy because then we played them up there at their place,
Yes.
and it was like completely low scoring because the wind was like
was
40
awful.
mile an hour
Cold as
gusts, and it was
hell. I'll
cold.
never forget it.
You couldn't throw a football more than 10 yards. And Marcel Ship, he played in the NFL with the Arizona Cardinals, and he ran for whatever many yards he ran for. But long story short, with that one, he fumbled the ball like 4 or 5 times. Our defense held it down for us.
No, I know you guys
that
had
game.
some dudes on that team.
Yeah, man.
They were talking about it. They were talking about it yesterday. I had Rennell jump on.
Yes.
The Russo guy. He said the Russo guy was out of his
Pat
mind.
Russo.
Yeah.
Pat Russo he's a crazy dog, man.
And he
Actually,
coaches
I
now.
don't know if Russo wasn't even on that team though.
Oh, he may not have been on the 98 team. Okay.
No, he wasn't on the 98 team.
97 team.
Oh, the one, the 97, I think we did go into overtime. And yes, trying to think. But yeah, man, that's a long time. That's a lot of games, brother. A lot of games.
No, I know. I heard about it. But he was telling me like some of the guys, like the Wagner guy who was 28 years old.
Oh, Lou Wagner, yeah. Clint
him.
Hamilton.
Yep.
Yeah.
You had such a squad.
They transferred in, and then we had a linebacker who transferred in from
Khalid Riley. They mentioned the guy from BU that transferred in that was really good.
Khalid. God, dog, I can't remember his last name. But anyway, Khalid. Yeah, because BU. It was Boston University.
Program.
Yep, they canceled their program. So we had like 1 or 2 guys come in from that program.
Right.
It was 98 year was a perfect storm for us. And if I didn't get hurt, I swear to goodness, I truly think we would have beat Delaware at our place.
Right.
I think. I struggled against New Hampshire. Always struggled against it.
Yeah, UNH was tough.
Yeah, but that's when Azuma he rushed
Oh
the ball
yes, that's
52
right.
times for like 260 yards. But we never had a good offensive game plan against them. They would do
Right,
things that we never had answers for. Our game plans on offense were so basic, and it used to frustrate me because they just felt like we couldn't comprehend it, but we could.
right.
Um,
Well,
and
you had told me when you came in that they skip ran the option. I mean, he was trying to run the Notre Dame option stuff
Yeah, he was trying to
early
run
on.
some of that stuff. That's all he knew,
Yeah,
And then my junior senior year, he tried to go four wides, but he didn't like that because he wasn't in control. He didn't understand the fact that you can control. And then finally, like my senior year, I used to have a run pass, if you will, option, like the
they
simplest
would
of
package it.
everything.
Yeah,
Like if the jack, oh my God, talk about
Jack
arena
linebackers,
football.
arena
Yeah,
football.
yeah, exactly. If
The Will was out of the
the
box.
Sam or Will were in
Yeah,
the box, I could throw a screen or bubble screen or something.
right, right. You
You
throw
know,
the jailbreak screen.
yeah. Instead of having that slot receiver trying to block, let's get them out in space. If they're playing cover two and they're trying to cheat that, or they're playing quarter half or whatever they're playing,
Yeah,
now I can throw that bubble. Now it's one on one. Torrey Taylor or Dak Newton or Carl Bond or Fitzsimmons or whoever it is out there. Hey, one on one, they
they
make
make
one
someone
man
miss.
miss.
Yeah,
It's a wrap. And as an offensive lineman, think about what you don't have to do.
yeah.
No,
It makes
you
life
don't
a
have to
lot
block
easier.
anything
Yeah,
because
ball's
hell,
gone.
yeah,
You
yeah,
just
that
join the
saves your
touchdown
legs,
dance.
and then we can go downhill. You know what I mean? We can pound them in the dirt.
What do you think of the RPO game? Because the RPO game has become so prevalent and everyone's doing it.
Yes,
And I think it's just kind of being run to death at
sure.
both levels in the NCAA and the NFL. And it's caused quarterbacks to take significant amount of hits. And I even look at Lamar Jackson and the regression, he's lost
Mm-hmm.
weight, but nobody would have predicted the Ravens being 0-2 and losing to the Raiders. I mean,
Very
that
true.
to Gardner Minshew. I mean, come on. I didn't see that coming. And you
Yeah.
have Derrick Henry. But the RPO game, it just it seemed like it was cool for a little while, and
Yeah.
now everyone is trying to do it with the spread type of quarterback, that it
Mm-hmm.
has to be part of your system. And I always felt, because at Holy Cross we did a ton of RPOs, and my thing was, can we please just give the quarterback one play where he can just turn around and hand it off and not have to think about anything else? Can we do that?
Yeah.
Because everything had a read on it, everything had a tag on it,
Yeah.
everything had something on it. I just thought like, for me, just mentally,
Yeah.
if every single play I have to evaluate and make a split second decision, give it or pull it,
Yeah.
give it, pull it, throw it, like
Yeah.
pull it, throw it, like it just give him a couple times where he can just hand it off. Can we do that? It just
Yeah.
seems like it's a lot to ask.
I don't disagree with you. I will say this. It has to do a lot with the ability of the quarterback, ability of the receivers as well to
Yes,
to see and read the same thing the quarterback's doing. It's not just on the quarterback. So
right,
you need a lot that goes into that. But I will tell you this: if you have everybody on the same page, and this is where the extra work goes in with the quarterbacks and receivers, and even the defense to help the quarterbacks and receivers to give us a look. If you can do that, great. Now, I will say this though: it doesn't need to be every time. Like, you know, what's his name with Kansas City? Um, the
Andy
Chiefs.
Reid.
The quarterback though.
Oh, Mahomes.
Yeah, Mahomes. Thank you. I was gonna say Manziel, and I'm like, that's so far off. So talk about head stuff. Um, but anyway, Mahomes. Not everything he does is a it's not a read pass option type of
Correct.
thing. Now they make it look like it all the time.
Correct.
Now a lot of times, here's the thing. Here's what's crazy about it. There are times where it's a run pass option, like with that offense. Because one of the guys when I was coaching
A zone
at
read
the junior
pull.
college,
Zone read
yeah.
pull.
So
Pass.
so what you do is you go fast, and then so you're reading. You're not even reading the defensive end. You're reading the outside linebacker, or
The support
possibly
player.
even
Yeah.
sometimes if it's into the boundary, you may even be reading that
Corner.
corner.
Yeah, the dead corner.
Absolutely. So it could be a run pass type of thing. So
Yeah.
there are so many things that go into it, but I understand what you're saying. As far as just, hey, can we just hand it and go? There are a
Just
lot of
a couple
times where,
times. He
yeah,
doesn't have to think.
yeah, exactly. And there are a lot of times. That's why you hear everybody. That's why everybody does the Brady thing. Like when I was with the Bucks in 2001 or two, whatever year, 2003 it was. We would always say can, and then we'd make a dumping a can type of thing because we're pouring the play out type of deal, right?
Oh, I like that.
We're dumping it in the
Or in the
trash.
can now. I
So
like
he'd
that.
go, we would always say, you know what I mean? But I like the Brady thing better because everybody knows, hey, they can see it. But you can go to the can route too. That means we would call two plays in one, but we were
Right.
still, it was a true run or a true pass or a run to one side or to the other side or,
Right.
you
Right.
could say
Yeah.
opposite. There's so many, as well as I do, there's so
Yeah.
many ways to get to a different play. But I do hear you in that regards as far as, keeping it simple, but you do need to, if you're going to run that RPO stuff, not only does a quarterback need to know what and where he's going with the football and when he's going with the football, you need the receiving core to truly understand. And that takes a ton of reps.
The
And
timing's huge.
yes,
100%.
absolutely, brother. Absolutely, man. And so, but one thing I wanted to say about Syracuse, um, this quarterback they have. Speaking of quarterbacks and
He's a dynamic
RPOs, and
guy. Yeah,
dude,
he was a good transfer
yeah,
that they brought in.
I think he's going to be
100%.
a beast, bro. He may be a difference maker for Syracuse.
Yeah,
Since
and they need it. And
yeah,
I had thought that Garrett McCarthy. I thought he was okay.
yeah,
I thought he
he was good.
um, the McCarthy was the guy they had last year.
Yeah,
I thought he was okay.
I also
Um,
love Aranda Gatson too, man.
oh yeah,
That
he's
mother is
legit.
good ball. He's a ball player in the red zone. Ooh,
Yeah,
good
yeah,
luck D'ing him up.
he's legit.
He reminds me of the kid from Florida that got drafted like in the top 5, that tight end from
Yes,
Florida like 2-3 years ago.
yes. Kyle Pitts. Yes.
Yes, Pitts. Yep.
Oh yeah, Gadsden's a big boy. It was good that he came back. I mean,
Yeah.
they easily could have lost him. So
Yeah.
I completely agree with you. But yeah, he's done some amazing things as well.
Yeah.
But I it's good to see that the new head coach has brought some life back into the program.
Yes.
And I do think that the ACC is down, and Syracuse, BC, somebody could emerge
Yeah.
and take control and go in. We're gonna take a quick break, and then we will finish up. This is Steve Cully's Festivus of Sports with Shane Stafford on the Studio 25 Podcast Network.
Visit My Little Falls and stay connected with the latest news, information, and events in the city and the area. Our mission is to generate interest in the community and connect residents in a more meaningful way by facilitating deeper conversations about how these stories will shape the future of the Mohawk Valley. Join thousands of weekly visitors who stay up to date with feature stories, interviews, videos, our event calendar, and print publication, the Mohawk Valley Express. It's about timely local news for the community, keeping citizens informed about important issues, telling about the people who live and work here, and giving locally owned businesses the opportunity to reach a very targeted audience of locals and tourists alike. It's a whole new form of media-rich content developed specifically for today's mobile lifestyle and listeners. You can download our iOS app in the iTunes Store, listen to our country music streaming radio station, or sign up for a weekly newsletter. Stop by today at mylittlefalls.com. You'll be glad you did.
All right, and we're back. So, Shane, your first episode of the Festivus of Sports. You feel festive? Very festive?
Festivus for the rest, right? I don't want to quote it precisely because I don't want any copyright infringement. No, dude, it's been awesome, my man. I love it. I love talking to you, chatting. It's been a great experience.
Yeah, no, I agree. I was telling Schumann, I said, Schumann, can't you go get us a coaching job? Said, go, you're a name. Go get a head coaching job. Yeah. Hire Shane and I, and we'll just come down and have fun. Can we do that? I that's all I want to do. Go find a head coaching job, and we'll just come down and we'll have fun.
We'll win football games. We'll talk a lot of
smack. We'll go for it on fourth down every time.
And we'll have fun.
Yeah, that's all I want to do. That's all I want to do. I told Dave that. I said, just go get a head coaching job. Shane can run your offense. I'll
even let Dave run the offense.
I thought he's an offensive guy.
Oh, Dave's an everything guy, man.
Oh, okay. I didn't know.
Dave. Right. He's got a keen mind, man.
I know he does. He's really smart. He's a high IQ guy. I thought he was an offensive guy. I know he's won a state title in Jersey, which
he's more of a defense, but he loves offense. He loves just putting points up. He loves anything that works.
Yeah, well, we all love it when it works. But no, that's what I said. You can run the offense. I'll coach the line, and Dave can run the defense. And I don't do special teams, so you two can figure that out.
Yeah.
I refuse to coach special teams. I want nothing to do with special.
We need you on the PAT though. You need
the PAT.
How to step down and stay low. Flat back.
If you ask my teammates to this day, our last game was against Iowa State. We beat Iowa State at Iowa State.
Yeah.
And
what a great win.
Yeah.
Humble brag, brother. Hell yeah.
Well, no, what I'm gonna say is the last play was victory. Yeah. And we got in the huddle, we got a big hug, and I said to the offensive line, I said, guys, I just want you to remember one thing. PAT is always a playoff.
Look at you.
Well, because the guys would laugh. What I used to do, if we scored a touchdown, I would talk to my opponent. I'm like, "You're not going to rush here, right? Like we're going to take this off, right?"
Right.
He's like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, just don't rush."
Yeah.
He's like, "Okay, yeah."
There you go.
I would always do that. I'd say, "You're not really going to rush, right?" He's like, "No, we're good, dog." Like,
hey, that's when they bait you.
Yeah,
you know.
I know. I never got baited.
No.
They didn't lie to me.
But then that's what you do is because
I would tell them. I said, "You're not rushing, right?"
Yeah. Yep. So what I would do, because what I would have done if I were you as an offensive lineman, if they did rush. Here's what I would have done, because when I would throw an interception or a fumble recovery, a defensive person loves to get the quarterback.
Yeah.
I'd let a guy come into me. Like I would find a guy and I'd grab his shoulder pads and I'd pull him close to me and stick my knee right where it counts.
Yeah, that's exactly that. Genius.
Yep.
Genius.
So
Genius
that's what I would do
mentality.
if a guy ever cheated you on that
Yeah,
whole
I'd pull
thing.
him over and knee him in the nuts. I'll do
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
That's a good plan. We'll coach that up.
We'll go with that one.
But
Dude, Steve, I love these conversations, man. This is
they're
good
great.
stuff.
They're great. I'm glad I was able to get you on. I'm glad you're able to do this. And you said Tuesday nights are probably the easiest for you to do
Tuesdays
these
typically
shows.
are great. Yeah.
Perfect.
This is awesome.
Perfect. We'll definitely, that'll be our Tuesday night thing. We'll do the Festivus of sports. And then we gotta double check. I want to make sure when you're going to be honored. I'm pretty sure it's the 28th. It's the following weekend, so I want to make sure I'm up there for that and we have some fun. Because I know Burton will be there and some other guys will be there. We'll have a nice tailgate, have a good time.
I got some stories about that young man too.
Yes, I do too.
I'm sure you do.
Mainly his bachelor party. But save that for another day.
We got to keep those off air.
Yeah, two craziest things I ever attended: that and Darby's bachelor party.
Oh my!
I've never seen. There's things I've seen that I never thought I'd ever see before, and they were at that thing. So
hey, you might want to make a T-shirt about that. Two things, craziest things I've ever seen: Burton and Darby.
Darby. So for Shane Stafford, and I am your host, the best podcast / radio host in the universe, Steve Cully. This has been on the Studio 25 Podcast Network. Creative Outpost, Dave Warner. We love you. We love you. Steve Cully's Festivus of Sports. Remember, when life gives you lemons, don't make lemonade. Take 2 oranges and throw them back at life.